Welcome back to Praise Jones for this week's edition of the GP Are You With Me Carencro Coaches Show. Of course, we're live each and every week on the Carencro Bears Network. I got the man of the hour with me, Coach Gavin Peters. Coach, how you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good, brother. I'm doing pretty good. Obviously, wish we were coming in a little bit better circumstance. The last 2 weeks have obviously we've taken some tough losses. And I told the kids before we left today, I think this is a quote from Bill Parcells: there's winning and there's misery. There's no in between. There's absolutely no in between. And it's just unfortunate that we've taken, 2 tough losses back to back. But proud of the way our kids went out there and competed in both of those contests. We're not playing against any chumps, right? We're playing against some of the best competition in the state of Louisiana, and our kids have showed up every single ball game. And I'm pretty sure we may talk about that a little bit later because you and I had a conversation earlier this week about the quality of opponents that we played in our first 5 contests, including the scrimmage and the jamboree. But I'm proud of our kids, and it's a new season. It's a new season. Everybody's 0-0. We haven't won this championship on our campus since 2019. The last program to win this championship on our campus was the football program. And obviously, just like mostly at every school, the football program sets the tone for the school year. And the football program sets the tone for the community. And we want to set a better tone this year than we did last year. And I think we're kind of trending in the right direction, right? But we've got to get back definitely for sure in the correct lane this week.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that Zachary team that came in, Coach. That was the most impressive team that we've played in my mind so far this year. They were big up front, had a lot of athletes out on the perimeter. The quarterback made smart decisions, a lot of speed on defense, ran to the football extremely well. I could kind of keep going on and on and on. I think this team that we played on Friday night is going to play post-Thanksgiving.
No doubt. I think the last 2 teams that we played have a legitimate chance to go 10-0 each, which is a combined 20-0, which I think you will be happy with a couple weeks from now when you're trying to figure out those power ratings, right?
It makes it a lot easier for me, Coach.
Yeah, I think
my spreadsheet's
you and
a
Coach
lot
Joe
quicker.
and Coach Fran, all the math experts, I think you guys would be happy, if both of those teams go, 10-0 apiece. But it's just the facts, it's just the facts. Do those teams have quality opponents left on their schedule? Absolutely. Absolutely they do. But it's a legitimate chance that both of those programs go 10-0 each. So, like I told our kids, you hate to say that any loss is a good loss, but those are 2 good losses that we've had. Any program in the state of Louisiana could have lost to the last 2 programs that we've lost to. And we lose to LCA on a 4th and 20, right? A 4th and 20 that, if we make that play, we're in a little bit different situation right now today. And, Zachary, there's a bunch of things that if it goes different this past Friday night, first and foremost, it's a 2-possession game. But if there's a couple of different things that just go a different way on Friday, then it's either a 1-possession game or a tie game, And so I there's nothing to hang our heads about. Everything that we want is still right there ahead of us. And we've embarked the journey this week on the new season, which everybody is 0-0, and we want to go 1-0 each and every day and each and every week and start our quest of bringing a district championship. I told the kids today, when you leave the gym, look at the sign on the board. Like, look at the sign on the wall in the gym and look at the district championships that this program stacked back in the 90s and 2000s. We've got to get back to that. We've got to get back to that, and we're embarking on that journey this week.
And you mentioned a 2-score game. The game finished 34-20, and it really started out quick. You were able to come up with an interception by Hayden Monroe, and then you struck on the very first play. We talked a lot over the last couple of weeks about being scripted and knowing what you want to run. Was that really the first play on the script, or
Yes,
did
sir.
the turnover kind of dictate it?
No, that was absolutely the first play on the script. And, it's a little bit of a nuance of something that we've always done. And, it's pretty effective. It's pretty effective play. And we shot it. We shot the first bullet on Friday, and Babineau ran a great route, and Carson did a good job of distributing it out to him. And, we got off to a fast start. It's just unfortunately we didn't consistently operate that way, which Coach Fran and I was just discussing driving over here. I want to get better up front, and I'm taking a lot of responsibility for it, which I should, take responsibility for it, but I just want us to be better up front. I believe that this offense is – right now we're a really good offense, right? I think we're averaging 350 yards a game against, the best competition in the state of Louisiana, right? I mean, you average 400 yards a game, you're an elite offense. Elite offense. So we're 50 yards away from kind of, making our way into that elite category, and I believe that the missing piece is, being able to control and dominate the line of scrimmage, which I sound like a broken record at this point because – that was our issue a year ago, too, and it's just kind of continuing. And it's more of a physical issue, right? It's not a want issue. It's not a one issue. It's not a care issue. It's not a schematical issue. It's more of a physical deficient issue that we're constantly working on to improve every single day.
If you're just joining us right now on the Karen Crow Bears Network, we're over at Préjean's like we are each and every week, and we have a nice crowd tonight. Still time to come out and join us, or join us each and every week here. But great atmosphere, Coach. We got great drinks, great food. The Cypress Tavern's always a good time. Encourage you guys to come out, even if it's not for the GP show.
I really love this place.
It's
I was just
fantastic,
thinking that as I was coming in, and I really loved it. And I appreciate the venue that we had a year ago that gave us the opportunity to get this thing started. But I really, really, really love this place. Thank you, Mr. Ken, for allowing us to use your facility to represent our school and represent our football program and the most iconic football program in Lafayette Parish.
You want to talk again about dominating the line of scrimmage and being able to run the football. Look, that's not where you made your hay on Friday night. You know, you were able to throw the football for 285 yards for the second straight week. You were only able to run the football for 71 yards on 24 carries. You talked about being better up front. What does that – how do you get guys mentally tougher and ready to play, you know, the likes of a team like Zachary or, again, this week against Barb, another team that's historically been very good?
The only way to be tough is to go through tough things. The only way to be hard is to go through hard things. And, you know, we put our kids through tough and hard 12 months, a year, 365 days. We just got to keep plugging. You know, we got to keep working. We got to keep working. Phil Jackson once said, chop wood and carry water. And that's what we're doing right now. We're chopping wood and carrying water. And I just love the resiliency of the guys that we have up front. They've been very resilient through the disappointment, through the coaching, through the butt chewings, to be properly grammatically correct on air. And also the backfield. The backfield's a part of that too. The backfield's a part of that too. We've got to be better up front, and we've got to be better in the backfield, and we've made that no secret to our guys.
And you talked about starting quick, right? You were able to strike on the first play on offense. It was a little different in the second half, right? You got the football, and you really your offense, you know, didn't do what it needed to do to start that second half.
Well, most of the drives that we had finished in the red zone area. You know, it's a 13-6 game. They run a fake punt. Unfortunately, we get a very bad spot. We believe that we stopped them, and the film showed that we stopped them. And instead of it being 13-6 with us and us having the ball on the 50 with a chance to go down there and tie it, 2 or 3 plays later, they score and make it 21-6. We drive the ball all the way back down the field right before halftime and make it a 21-13 game, going into halftime down one possession. We're getting the ball back. Unfortunately, we allow them to kick a field goal, and we go down 2 possessions instead of 1. We come out in the second half. We get strip sacked on the very first play. We hold up to a field goal. Then we drive all the way down the field, and we drop a fade route on 4th and 4, okay, which we can't fault Babineau for dropping that fade, right? I mean, no one's perfect. He missed it. He missed the play. So then the very next drive, we get the ball back where they score, right? The very next drive, we get the ball back. We drive all the way down the field and score and make it a 2-possession game. Then we get a stop, and we drive it all the way down the field. We have it 1st and 10 on the plus 15-yard line. And we get a holding call. So instead of being 1st and 10 on the plus 15-yard line, we in 2nd and 25, right, which is very, very difficult to overcome. And then Zachary got the ball back and ate the timeout. So, it's, you know, that's like I alluded to when I first got on the air tonight. A few things go differently Friday night. That's an entirely different ball game, starting with the fake punt. Okay, which, once again, you watch the film, we legitimately stopped them, okay, in that situation. We go down and score right there. It's a 13-13 game. You know, it's a 13-13 game. We're down 2 possessions to start the second half after we got strip sacked. We score right there. We're down 1 possession instead of being down 3 possessions. Okay, does that make sense? Right, so there's just a few different things that happened, you know, on Friday. We had 350 yards total offense. 350 yards total offense against one of the elite programs, not only in the state of Louisiana, but in the country. We just got to finish drives. We got to finish drives, and we got to get the ball in the end zone.
You talked a lot about flushing this one, and you and I talked about this last year, how kids are different nowadays. They don't get caught up so much in the past. They live in the moment where they're at today. That plays the benefit for you guys, knowing that you're 0-0 and you're going to play, you know, your first game in district this Friday.
Well, I don't think we can minimize the ache of the last 2 weeks, especially after winning the game versus STM. We thought we might have turned a corner and was heading into a remarkable, legendary season, right, which we still can have. We still can have. But I do think that the disappointing loss to LCA and also the disappointing loss to Zachary, because we went into both of those football games expecting to win, and reclaiming the pride and respect of Carencro football, which I think we have up until this point. But we take care of business the last 2 weeks. Nobody's even talking about a year ago, right? Like, that's ancient history. But we're still kind of leaving those lingering questions of, has Carencro really turned the corner, So I don't think we can minimize the aches of the past 2 weeks, but the reality of the situation is we have to move on. And we're pressed forward to the Barb Bucks this week.
Well, I think something that's very, worth noting, that you still have all your goals in front of you. Still play for a district championship. Even with the losses, the PowerPoints are going to be there to probably set you up for a favorable first-round game if you're able to take care of business the rest of the way. That has to be the message to the kids, right? Not only are you 0-0, all the goals and all the dreams you had going into the season are still at your fingertips.
Perspective. Right after I talked to them on Monday about it's a new season and everybody's 0-0 and we want to go 1-0 every single day, every single week, the second thing I talked to them about was perspective. And I told them that, guys, Westgate, Notre Dame, STM, LCA, Zachary, those have been our last 5 opponents. They have a combined 16 state championships in the last 10 years. We have 2 in 60 years of Carencro football. They have a combined 16 in the last 10 years. And theoretically, we could be 3-1-1. We tied versus Westgate. They won, scored 5 times. We scored 5 times. We beat Notre Dame. We beat STM. We're 4th and 20 stop away from beating LCA. And if we take care of business that night versus LCA, then our only loss on the schedule is to state perennial and national powerhouse Zachary in a very close contest. So, perspective. And Coach Brewerton called me on Sunday, right? I mean, we're game planning for Barb. We've moved on, and Coach Brewerton called me, and we had a 20-minute conversation, and he was just raving about our football program, of how impressed he was with competing against us 2 straight years, the communication that we had, making sure that they were prepared for their visit to our place, the upgrades that we've made to our facilities, the product that we put out there on the field, the way we reacted when things didn't go our way with class, first class. I mean, 20-minute conversation, and he didn't have to do that, right? Like, he's supposed to be moving on to the next opponent that those guys are competing against. So for him to make that phone call, Coach Brew, like, you were already up there in my book, and you were already up there on my list where you just jumped yourself up there to Mount Rushmore as some of my favorite coaches in the history of Louisiana high school football. And I told our kids, be careful about listening to unqualified opinions, right? Like, there's not an opinion that gets more qualified than David Brewerton, right? And, he talked about, Coach, you guys are going to win a bunch of games. He said, Coach, I don't know what it is. It's just something about your football team or you guys' football team that I admire and I enjoy. And I said, Coach, I can't thank you enough for this phone call. And as I'm on the phone with Coach Brewerton, I get another phone call from Hank Tierney, right, who has over 300, 400 career victories at Archbishop Shaw, who's the first head coach that I wanted to play for as I was growing up, in the city of New Orleans. So I just can't thank those 2 guys enough, for their phone calls this past Sunday, complimenting the type of team that we have. And I do think that we have the opportunity to go on a run now and to compete for a district championship, which is the goal every year. That's the first goal that we want to have every year, is to compete for a district championship. One
thing, though, that you got to talk about that Coach Brewerton told you is they prepared to come into a hostile environment in the open-air Crow Dome, and he was surprised. He was genuinely surprised with the turnout and the crowd. He just thought it was going to be a lot more folks and a lot more chaos than we were able to provide them.
Yes, sir. And look, I appreciate the people who do serve as the foundation of this program and the backbone of this program. A lot of them are in the building with us right now, and those people that I'm talking about, which I can't name all individually, they do show up. They do show up and support us, whether it's C-Day, whether it's Media Day, whether it's, sub-varsity games, Friday night games at home and on the road. But I'll never forget the last year I was coaching at Acadiana High School, and I worked with a lot of guys that had spent their times in their career at Carencro High School, right? And I heard about the way things were in the 90s and 2000s. And at that time, secretly, I had developed a crush internally for Carencro. And I'll never forget in the headsets, Coach Davidson and Coach Sebo and Mr. Lejeune, the principal at the time, saying, look at the empty blue seats. So whenever Coach Corville called me and we began negotiating coming over to Karen Crow, my goal has always been to restore that, correct? Like to restore that. And we've done what we've needed to do on the field. Outside of last year in my first year, we've done what we've needed to do on the field. In my first year, we finished the season off 4-1, okay, and played for a district championship game versus St. Thomas More, at their place. So we've done what we're supposed to do. We've and that's what Coach Brewington said, guys, you guys are a championship program. You guys put a good product on the field. I told our kids all week, I remember the wars that we had with Karen Crow back when I was at Catholic High, in the 90s and 2000s, and I was expecting to come into that same environment, and he was very disappointed with that. And I said, Coach, it kind of started, before I actually got here, and we've been working our butts off to restore it, And, we've put the product on the field. We're a championship program. And since I've been here, we've beat all of the perennial powerhouses in the state of Louisiana that we've competed against. St. Thomas More, Westgate, Notre Dame, Acadiana, Edna Carr, Neville, West Monroe, right? We went on the road and beat West Monroe. That was like their first loss in over 20 years at home. We've done our job on the field, and once again, we respect and appreciate the people that have supported us and continue to support us, but there's got to come a time where the most iconic football program in Lafayette Parish is filling up the stands again to where there's no empty seats in the house, because that's the way it used to be in the 2000s. And even in the early 2010s, I walked by the semifinal. The
2011
Bird
year. Yep.
In 2011, like I walked by that picture every single day. And I just yearn for the day that it returns to that way. And once again, we've done our part on the field. We need more supporters in the stands, and the kids deserve it. The kids deserve it, and the program deserves it as well.
Hey, look, we get 3,000 views for this show every week, 7,000 views, watching the game every Friday night. Hey, get you guys to come into the open air Crow Dome and support the Bears in that manner. We're going to step aside for the first time tonight. When we come back, Coach Ryan Tabb's going to join us, one of the recent additions to the Karen Crow staff from Acadiana. Freshman coach and just a great guy too, Coach.
Yes,
great
sir.
Guy.
Freshman defensive coordinator, but he also serves as our co-linebackers coach. He coaches with Coach Romero hand in hand. And, what a first-class guy and first-class family Ryan Tabb is. His son, Hunter Tabb, who just finished playing baseball at Southern University. It's kind of funny. Tell you a story. Tell everybody a story. Oh, yeah, it's kind of funny. So Tabb's son told Hunter, he's like, yeah, I just got finished playing college Tabb's son, Hunter, told Carson. He said, man, I just got finished playing college baseball. He's like, yeah, where you play baseball at? He said, I play baseball at Southern. He looked at him. He said, well, man, it's like me at Karen Crow. You at Southern, it's like me at Karen Crow. Boy, I died laughing. So that's a pretty good story with Coach Tabb and his son. But his son has a special place in my heart, and the Tabb family has a special place in my heart. And I couldn't be more thankful to have him to be a part of the staff and hope that him and his family are a part of us for a very long time.
When we come back, Ryan Tabb's going to join us right here on the Karen Crow Bears Network. All right, Karen Crow fans, it's football season. That means it's time for the GP Are You With Me? Karen Crow Coaches Show. This season, we're bringing it live to you from a Karen Crow staple right here at Prejean's off of the Evangeline Thruway. We're going to be live each and every week. For Friday night games, the show's going to be on Thursday nights. For those Thursday night kicks, we'll be live on Wednesday nights, 6:30 to 7:30. You can hear it all at one place, the Karen Crow Bears Network.
Big for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers, for the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists, for long distance love, for the farsighted, nearsighted, for introverts and extroverts, for the thinkers and the doers, for old friends. Coca-Cola, for everyone.
Are you ready to launch your future? Welcome to the Academy of Information Technology at Karen Crow High School, the premier magnet academy for cutting-edge education in computer science, information technology, and media arts. Dive into a world where your interests come alive. In AOIT, you'll explore technology like never before, mastering essential skills in HTML and Python while gaining hands-on experience in daily TV production and innovative media projects. Our partnership with LSU in affiliation with the National Academy Foundation means you'll receive top-tier computer science education. Imagine leaving the academy with industry-standard credentials from Microsoft, Adobe, and CompTIA, plus a stunning portfolio that showcases your skills. Don't just dream about the future, create it. Follow your passion in tech and join AOIT today. Apply now at LafayetteChoice.com/apply. Your future starts here.
Never been a better time to buy a new Super Duty pickup from Hub City Ford. Right now, get $7,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Ford Super Duty. Need to pull a heavy load? It's the perfect truck with best-in-class towing and torque. And it's loaded with advanced technology. And with 42 acres, Hub City Ford's got a huge selection. Save big on a brand new Super Duty. $7,000 off MSRP.
Hub City Ford, I-49 North, Lafayette.
It's that time of year. Spice up your Saturday Bear style. Join us for the 4th annual Bear Takedown Club Jambalaya Cook-Off. On Saturday, October 11th, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., the flavor explodes at Pokey's Poorhouse on 115 Derrick Plaza Drive in Carencro, Louisiana. Unlimited tastings for just a $10 donation. That's right, all the jambalaya you can eat for only $10. Think you got the winning recipe? Grab your crew of 4 for only $100 and cook your way to bragging rights. Judging kicks off at 12. But that's not all. We've got a 50-50 raffle, a live and silent auction, and a rowdy cornhole tournament to keep the good times rolling. Mark your calendar, October 11th, 8 to 2. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and bring your Cajun spirit. For more information, scan the QR code on the screen, and we hope to see you there. Let's go, Bears!
Let's get those right.
It's that time of year. Spice up your Saturday Bear style. Join us for the 4th annual Bear Takedown Club Jambalaya Cook-Off. On Saturday, October 11th, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., the flavor explodes at Pokey's Poorhouse on 115 Derrick Plaza Drive in Carencro, Louisiana. Unlimited tastings for just a $10 donation. That's right, all the jambalaya you can eat for only $10. Think you got the winning recipe? Grab your crew of 4 for only $100 and cook your way to bragging rights. Judging kicks off at 12. But that's not all. We've got a 50-50 raffle, a live and silent auction, and a rowdy cornhole tournament to keep the good times rolling. Mark your calendar, October 11th, 8 to 2. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and bring your Cajun spirit. For more information, scan the QR code on the screen, and we hope to see you there. Let's go, Bears!
Welcome back into Praise Jones. It's the GP. Are you with me, Carencro Coaches Show? And you're joining us live on the Carencro Bears Network. And I'm going to bring on my next guest, Coach Ryan Tabb, Carencro's freshman defensive coordinator, co-linebacker coach, and new addition from Acadiana. Proud to have you here. I don't know if you could hear back there, but right before you came on, GP was talking about you and what you bring to the program. He was gushing about you. It was pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, no, it's good to be here, man. You know, when you're appreciated, when you bring something to the table, you feel like you're helping the kids, and that's what it's about, helping kids and get them, these young people to the next level or wherever they go in life.
I'm pretty excited, though, not only, helping with the linebackers, and we'll get to that, but having dedicated coaches for the freshmen is awesome. I mean, look, even when Barbe was here, we didn't spend a whole lot of time on the underclassmen and the freshmen, and that's really where you have to start developing these kids, get them used to it, especially when you have them coming from multiple different middle schools now to really kind of get in sync on what you're running. It's not like they all came from Carencro Middle back in the day where they came in kind of pre-programmed and pre-established. What kind of joy do you get coaching the youngest of the group, those freshmen?
Well, because when you build championship programs and you do those things, you start from that level. You know, you have to start from the middle schools into the freshmen into varsity. And, you know, my job is to get them prepared to play their sophomore year or in their junior year, or the winning is nothing. It's progressing those kids to be ready, you know, and doing what varsity kids do.
And the jump from the middle school level to the high school level is crazy. You know, it's way different. The game's a lot faster. But also just the understanding the game, right? The terminology, really explaining them to him how the, you know, ins and outs work. Oh, in your case, on the defensive side of the football, how does that work, the actual teaching of the student athlete?
It's a test. You know, it's a struggle because of the lack of what they get in middle school. But it goes quick because I feel like the program they do here with the freshmen, they do individuals with varsity coaches and with us, and then we do freshman team differently. So they get all that stuff that where I've been in the past, they don't. So they do that stuff with varsity, and then they come into team, and then they get all that stuff. And by now, like last night, we did really well. You know, yeah, we didn't win the game, but the progression, you could see the progression quickly through it.
And y'all played STM last night,
Yeah.
Coach? It was a close ball game?
It was close on not by score, but how we did. You know, we kind of made some stops, got them into third downs, got them into third and longs, got them into fourth downs, got them into things we can manage where they were just, I mean, last time we played them, it was, you know, two plays, touchdowns.
I remember that first game. I remember talking to you on the sideline that night. It was, whew, man,
it was rough.
It ain't going well.
Rough.
So, look, you kind of progress. You start to get some reps. That helps out. What do you think we do different here than in your last stop that allows us to get to that point? You talked about getting those reps in the varsity practice with those varsity coaches.
Yeah, and then they do on scout team. A lot of our guys do scout team against, like, say, the varsity ones or two, you know, defense, and then they get individual drills. So when they go, say, defensive linemen, linebackers, D-backs, they get the individual drills with the varsity kids. So they get all that stuff. They get you prepared. We just got to line them up, you know, and teach them how to do our defense, you know, whether it be whatever we line up to whatever formation we line up to. So that's all we get the team to do. And the individuals, they go with the varsity guys. So they get all that stuff. They get to watch the varsity do it, and then they go, you know, repeat it, and it helps.
You know, coach with a guy like Gavin and him being, you know, under Coach Ted Davidson before, like where you were at your previous stop. What's the difference coming here from not necessarily a culture standpoint, but an operational standpoint, as far as how you guys, you know, watch film, break it down, and game plan more or less?
It's a lot like Ted. You know, he brought over a lot of cultural stuff and how he runs practices like Ted did. You know, it's very similar. Even with the kids, he's similar. With the coaches, he's similar. A lot of similarities, which is a good trait.
Well, and I talked to Kyle Sebo earlier in the year. He didn't shy away. He said the thing that was the biggest difference when he got here versus over in Scott was the toughness. Carencro lacks some toughness, maybe mental and physical toughness, but he was quick to say that he thinks that's a quick thing to change, the culture and the aspect of a team. Do you think that we're starting to see that already, just in the little bit of time that you guys have been here?
I think there's a lot of that with a lot of that happens because when you change, when you have different guys, those guys want to do good for those guys because they're new. I mean, we're new to those kids. So those kids want to do better, and they want to be tougher, and they want to do things. And then we're going up against, you're talking about three top five opponents right back to back to back. And then you face the Notre Dame team that was top 5 team. Then you face the Westgate team, a top 5 team. So you face 5 opponents, and you're either going to get tougher.
Iron sharpens iron.
You're either going to get tougher, or you're going to walk off the field, you know. And then the kids are still there, so we're gonna move forward. And I think you're going to see in these next few weeks the progression.
Ryan Tabb right now with me on the Carencro Bears Network. Carencro's freshman defensive coordinator, and now we'll talk a little bit about his moonlight job, co-linebackers coach on the varsity level. Talk about your guys over the last couple weeks. You faced offenses that like to operate in total different spaces. You know, a lot of teams like to spread you out, but some of them like to sling the rock all over the field. Others like to spread you out and then pound you between the tackles. Talk about how big of a difference that is for your linebacking group, having to go back and forth between those two styles of play.
It's the kids are learning every day, you know, and every time they see something different. Say week 1, we face a lot of tosses and outside stuff, and then week 2 we were more of a spread, RPO stuff, and then week 3 you face the stretch and the counters. So
with some size.
With some size. So right there you got tested in 3 different and you're gonna get better because you're facing those guys and they're all good at what they do. So I think each week we're going to get better, and you're going to start to see that in the next couple of weeks.
Man, one great thing about being here at Préjean's is the food. You smell the gumbo? Walks in, I can smell that roux cooking right now, Coach. I'm getting a little hungry where I'm at.
I'm fortunate in sales, so I'm fortunate to get this quite often. So, I'm kind of jealous watching them eat.
Wrapping up right now with Coach Ryan Tabb. And look, you got a lot of familiarity with the defensive side of coaches, right? You, Coach Sebo, Coach Romero, you all been coaching together for a while. Talk about the difference, getting a young guy like Kobe Pettis, who's really young in his coaching journey, but how quickly you guys were able to adapt and work together.
I think we're all different in good ways. Sebo and Jordan taught me everything I know. And those guys are the best. And then introducing Pettis to us, and it's almost like it was the peg we were missing, in the puzzle. And I think it's going to be special. I just, how you say that, get your popcorn ready.
No regret for being here, right, Coach?
No.
Well, I appreciate you joining us, Ryan. Man, we couldn't be more happier to have you and your family part of the program now. You guys fitting in like a glove. You guys have been embraced the culture from day one. It's nice to see y'all at all our events and each and every Friday, and, of course, throughout the week as well. We appreciate you all that you do for the program and look forward to many more years to come.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sir. Coach Ryan Tabb will come to talk to us a little bit about the freshman football, a little bit of varsity, and his journey over to the Carencro program. We're going to step aside when we come back. Carencro offensive line coach and wrestling coach Derrick Franchak is going to join us. We'll talk a little bit of jambalaya cook-off and what those wrestling Bears are going to do on the mat this winter. Right here on your home for Carencro High football, the Carencro Bears Network.
Big for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long distance love. For the farsighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
Are you ready to launch your future? Welcome to the Academy of Information Technology at Carencro High School, the premier magnet academy for cutting-edge education in computer science, information technology, and media arts. Dive into a world where your interests come alive. In AOIT, you'll explore technology like never before, mastering essential skills in HTML and Python while gaining hands-on experience in daily TV production and innovative media projects. Our partnership with LSU and affiliation with the National Academy Foundation means you'll receive top-tier computer science education. Imagine leaving the academy with industry-standard credentials from Microsoft, Adobe, and CompTIA, plus a stunning portfolio that showcases your skills. Don't just dream about the future, create it. Follow your passion in tech and join AOIT today. Apply now at LafayetteChoice.com/apply. Your future starts here.
All right, Carencro fans, it's football season. That means it's time for the GP Are You With Me? Carencro Coaches Show. This season, we're bringing it live to you from a Carencro staple right here at Préjean's off of the Evangeline Thruway. We're going to be live each and every week. For Friday night games, the show's going to be on Thursday nights. For those Thursday night kicks, we'll be live on Wednesday nights, 6:30 to 7:30.
You can hear it all at one place. The Careco Bears Network.
Never been a better time to buy a new Super Duty pickup from Hub City Ford. Right now, get $7,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Ford Super Duty. Need to pull a heavy load? It's the perfect truck with best-in-class towing and torque. And it's loaded with advanced technology. And with 42 acres, Hub City Ford's got a huge selection. Save big on a brand new Super Duty. $7,000 off MSRP.
Hub City Ford, I-49 North, Lafayette.
It's that time of year. Spice up your Saturday Bear style. Join us for the 4th annual Bear Takedown Club Jambalaya Cook-Off. On Saturday, October 11th, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., the flavor explodes at Pokey's Poorhouse on 115 Derrick Plaza Drive in Carencro, Louisiana. Unlimited tastings for just a $10 donation. That's right.
Let's get it over, right?
It's that time of year. Spice up your Saturday Bear style. Join us for the 4th annual Bear Takedown Club Jambalaya Cook-Off. On Saturday, October 11th, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., the flavor explodes at Pokey's Poorhouse on 115 Derrick Plaza Drive in Carencro, Louisiana. Unlimited tastings for just a $10 donation. That's right, all the jambalaya you can eat for only $10. Think you got the winning recipe? Grab your crew of 4 for only $100 and click your way to bragging rights. Judging kicks off at 12. But that's not all. We've got a 50-50 raffle, a live and silent auction, and a rowdy cornhole tournament to keep the good times rolling. Mark your calendar, October 11th, 8 to 2. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and bring your Cajun spirit. For more information, scan the QR code on the screen, and we hope to see you there. Let's go, Bears!
Right back into action, live from Praise Jones. It's the GP. Are You With Me, Carencro Coaches show live on the Carencro Bears Network. Sitting to my left now, I have a Carencro staple. Coach Derrick Franchak joining me right now. Wears many hats. Carencro's offensive line coach, but he's also Carencro's wrestling coach, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today as he has a big jambalaya cook-off coming up. But I want to talk about a little wrestling first. Something you told me interesting right before we came on the air. You said, man, I'm in a downswing right now. I hadn't had anybody compete for a state championship in the last 2 years. Now, before that, Coach, you brought out a list, and look, 2023, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, and 15, you had wrestlers at least in the finals, if not winning the finals, each and every year.
Yeah, man. You know, I have to give credit where credit's due. First, I want to, give a shout-out to Mr. Greg. But, Mr. Greg Laverne was definitely a big staple to the Carencro wrestling community and program. And obviously, Coach Evelyn, when I first started coaching wrestling, it was one of those things where, Coach, I never wrestled. I didn't wrestle a day in my life. He's like, man, you just got to trust, learn. And they showed me the ropes, lucky I was to have a state champion in 2015 when I was an assistant coach. And then from 17 through 23, like you said, I've had multiple state championships 7 years. And I was blessed, blessed with DNA. Now, what I'm saying, I'm not going to say I was the best, but I feel like we've gotten better and got,
So your first day when you got there, you were trying to show them the DDT and the power bomb,
right,
and then you had to kind of get them.
I was looking for the ropes and looking for the chairs and then realized that it was a little different, But I've grown a lot of respect for wrestling. When you don't really know what it's about, it's kind of one of those things where, you got to get in there, you got to get your boots on the ground and learn. And, it's tough. I tell people all the time, I think wrestling is tougher than football in the fact that you're out there for 2 minutes straight using every single muscle that you have in your body, and then you get a 20-second rest and it's 2 more minutes. And it's you and the opponent.
That's it.
You
No
can't
tag team
blame
match,
anybody.
right?
There's no tag teams. You can't tag out. It's you and your opponent that made the best man win,
And like, look, through the years when you said you first started, you didn't know what was going on. Have you come up with, like, more technically sound and understanding the different holds and the takedowns? And
Yeah, no doubt, man. I have to give credit to just coaches in the area. Sit down, you have discussions. You can learn. You read up on things and you watch videos. With all the social media we have nowadays, you can learn a lot and just watching by doing, watching by learning. Hell, I mean, I was blessed to have last name Clay. A lot of people in the wrestling community know those people, and they taught me a lot. Even as kids, young wrestlers, they wrestled since they were 5 years old. So that was high school kids that taught me a lot. And, since then, I've obviously stepped up my game and learned quite a bit. And I'm thankful for those guys that have taught me everything that I've learned.
And not only that, you're able to build a program. And when you build a program, it takes a lot of resources. You created the Bears Takedown Club, very similar to the Bear Bash Club. And you were able to do things like this jambalaya cook-off. It's already in the 4th year, Coach. It's pretty outstanding what you guys were able to accomplish.
Yeah, man. It's a small sport, right? And it's just kind of community-oriented, and it's, not a lot of funds coming through. Unfortunately, you go to a wrestling match, and let's say I host a wrestling match. 9 out of 10, I'm looking to break even. Now, I mean, it would be great to have the stands filled for a match and whatnot, but if you can break even by the time you pay security and referees, it eats you up. So you have to find ways to fund these events and to fund this sport. And one of the ways that we've done that is by establishing, like I said, the Bear Takedown Club and doing this cook-off that you're talking about.
Yeah, so the 4th year in a row that you guys are having. This is going to be October 11th, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. over at Pogie's Poorhouse in the Derrick Plaza. What can folks expect? You don't have to just cook to get involved, right?
No, not at all, man. Look, we will accept teams that want to cook. If you think you got the winning recipe, please come out. Like you said, on October 11th, and we'll accept entries up until that date. But it's not just for cooking. Come out and enjoy a good time. We're going to have a cornhole tournament. There's an organization, Acadian Cornhole, who hosts cornhole tournaments around the area, and they're going to bring the boards. They're going to bring everything, and we'll have tournaments. So if you enjoy a good game of cornhole, feel free to come. It's they're going to draw however they do it, but they basically you show up, you sign up, and you're paired with a partner, and just to have a good time. $10, all you can eat, unlimited testing. Enjoy. I spend my $10 and I eat every bit of jambalaya.
Try everyone, and the good ones eat a couple more times. You know what I mean?
If you leave hungry,
Sure.
shame on you. And then we'll have a live and silent auction that you can come if you decide that there's anything there that you may want to purchase. All of this money goes back for these kids that are wrestling in the Karen Crow high school program.
And you talked about how long the program's come, too. Karen Crow football's very close to moving into their new football operations building. If you haven't been over to campus, it's a gorgeous building on the other side of the gym. It's going to leave a vacant hole in the current locker room. And you're telling me that the wrestling teams could get their own locker room?
Man, listen, it was kind of, I said, man, I don't want to get into politics, but I said, I gotta go fight for this room. I said, who needs that room? When I went to Karen Crow High, obviously, that was our weight room. Okay, and this is a pretty big size build, room here inside the gym. And right now, I tell you what, we practiced in the gym off to the side while basketball was practicing early on in my wrestling career. And then we were forced into the girls' gym. They have a little add-on building. So we wrestled there for several years as far as practice. Then, they built these metal buildings out by the football field where we go for halftime and whatnot, which is now a weight room, and they have an activity room. So we've been practicing in there, but you got to carry mats back and forth. And I tell you what, they're heavy. The kids will be ecstatic when we can finally get into what is now the football locker room. But it will have, for the first time in my 12-year wrestling career, we'll actually have what we call a mat room and a locker room all in one, where we can solely be dedicated to wrestling, which is a big step in building the program back to what it was.
Wrapping up right now with Coach Derrick Franchak, and we'll bring you back on later in this season to talk some football. We'll stick with the rest. I'm having a good time talking about the wrestling. You know, what guys you got coming back this year, or some new guys on the horizon that you think might be able to get back to that level of state championship dominance that you come to expect?
Right. You know, the first guy that comes to mind, you talk about him every Friday night on the football field. You know, I've been lucky enough to have a lot of football guys who buy into wrestling and end up doing really good. I mean, we can talk about a whole bunch of people, but talking about right now, Cayman George, man, he came out last year. I talked him into coming out to wrestle. He was doing powerlifting, so he kind of split up his time. And in the little bit of time that I had him, the guy ended up being a really good wrestler. You know, it's hard to match his strength, and he's learned a little bit of technique, and I'm hoping that moving forward after football, he'll get back into wrestling and learn a little bit more. I mean, he placed at state last year as a first-time wrestler, had never wrestled before. He wrestled for maybe a month and then ended up placing top 4 at state. So I'm looking for big things from him. You know, he's gotten stronger, and he knows a little bit. We'll learn more and hopefully go out there and compete for a state championship. Gavin Joseph is another one. You know, he's been wrestling for me for 2 years, and I'm hoping, you know, I think what's going to happen is he may drop down from heavyweight down to the 215 weight class. Him and Cayman will probably switch.
It depends on how much he enjoys himself at the good jambalaya cook-off.
Well,
might have to put him on a limit.
Yeah, we're not going to give him a ban. But I look for big things from him. And then, man, I got a sophomore, a young kid. Last year was his first year wrestling. He's a lighter weight. He wrestled 106. I'm hoping that I can keep him in that 106, 113 range. And Cody Hippolyte. Phenomenal kid, fun kid to be around, man. He's always just so outgoing and just I love the kid, man. He actually I got lucky to get him. He transferred from Lafayette High. He ended up living in the Carencro area, and they moved. And it was his first year wrestling last year, but he is a diehard. He's a wrestling full-time guy. He doesn't do anything else. He wrestles during the summer. He wrestles during the fall. He wrestles during the spring. He tries to wrestle me in class. I teach him in geometry. He'll walk up to me and grab me and try to wrestle me. At 106 pounds, I got to laugh at him. But, you know, he's not scared. And I tell you what, he has worked his tail off. And I really look for big things from him this year. I would be disappointed if he's not, top 3 in the state. And I really believe he'll do whatever it takes to find a way to do that. And luckily, I have him 3 more years.
Wrapping up right now with Coach Derrick Franchak. Of course, the Jambalaya Cook-Off, October 11th, over at Pogie's Poorhouse, 8 a.m. start time, going to go to 2 p.m. Coach, if folks want to get involved, want to get a cooking team, how they go about doing that?
Yeah, man, there's flyers posted all over social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, and Pizzaville has flyers posted. Pogie's has flyers posted. Contact myself, on social media, or you can contact Desiree McCann at 337-962-0302 for more information, or you can reach us on our email at beartakedownclub@gmail.com. There's a QR code on every single one of our flyers and social media posts. Click the QR code, sign up your team for the cook-off. We're still, like I said, up until the day of the event, you may sign up to cook. We challenge any business or organization that enjoys cooking or has people that enjoy cooking. Please come out, sign up. Like I said, it's for these kids, and it's a way to raise funds to be able to support these kids in doing what they enjoy doing. So, again, click the QR code, and we hope to see you there for a good time. And like I said, even if you're not cooking, just come out and enjoy some good food. $10, all you can eat. We'll all be there, and it'll be a great time as always.
Well, Coach, no jambalaya here, but I see plenty of shrimp, gumbo, oysters, a lot of stuff to get into as well. So enjoyed your time, man. Appreciate you as always. Looking forward to this event each and every year. We're going to take our last break of the night. When we come back, Coach GP is going to sit back down with me, and we're going to talk about those Barb Bucks right here on your home for Carencro High Football, the Carencro Bears Network.
Big for the small, the short, and the tall. Peacemakers, risk takers. For the optimists, pessimists, exhibitionists. For long-distance love. For the far-sighted, nearsighted. For introverts and extroverts. For the thinkers and the doers. For old friends. Coca-Cola. For everyone.
Are you ready to launch your future? Welcome to the Academy of Information Technology at Carricker High School, the premier magnet academy for cutting-edge education in computer science, information technology, and media arts. Dive into a world where your interests come alive. In AOIT, you'll explore technology like never before, mastering essential skills in HTML and Python while gaining hands-on experience in daily TV production and innovative media projects. Our partnership with LSU and affiliation with the National Academy Foundation means you'll receive top-tier computer science education. Imagine leaving the academy with industry-standard credentials from Microsoft, Adobe, and CompTIA, plus a stunning portfolio that showcases your skills. Don't just dream about the future, create it. Follow your passion in tech and join AOIT today. Apply now at LafayetteChoice.com/apply. Your future starts here.
All right, Carricker fans, it's football season. That means it's time for the GP Are You With Me? Carricker Coaches Show. This season, we're bringing it live to you from a Carricker staple right here at Préjean's off of the Evangeline Thruway. We're going to be live each and every week. For Friday night games, the show's going to be on Thursday nights. For those Thursday night kicks, we'll be live on Wednesday nights, 6:30 to 7:30. You can hear it all at one place, the Carricker Bears Network.
Never been a better time to buy a new Super Duty pickup from Hub City Ford. Right now, get $7,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Ford Super Duty. Need to pull a heavy load? It's the perfect truck with best-in-class towing and torque. And it's loaded with advanced technology. And with 42 acres, Hub City Ford's got a huge selection. Save big on a brand new Super Duty. $7,000 off MSRP.
Hub City Ford, I-49 North, Lafayette.
Let's get it over, right?
It's that time of year. Spice up your Saturday Bear style. Join us for the 4th annual Bear Takedown Club Jambalaya Cook-Off. On Saturday, October 11th, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., the flavor explodes at Pokey's Poorhouse on 115 Derrick Plaza Drive in Carricker, Louisiana. Unlimited tastings for just a $10 donation. That's right, all the jambalaya you can eat for only $10. Think you got the winning recipe? Grab your crew of 4 for only $100 and cook your way to bragging rights. Judging kicks off at 12. But that's not all. We've got a 50-50 raffle, a live and silent auction, and a rowdy cornhole tournament to keep the good times rolling. Mark your calendar, October 11th, 8 to 2. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and bring your Cajun spirit. For more information, scan the QR code on the screen, and we hope to see you there. Let's go, Bears!
For the last time tonight, we're right back to Préjean's. This is the GP Are You With Me? Carricker Coaches Show live on the Carricker Bears Network. And I have the man of the hour, Coach Gavin Peters, back with me as we're ready to talk a little Barb Bucks. Last year, this game has a nasty taste in my mouth, Coach. Went to Barb last year and didn't play our best football. Dropped that game 21-13. I have revenge on my mind this year. I think this is a game that we owe it to ourselves to play better against Barb tomorrow night.
Well, I want to give the Barb Bucks credit first and foremost. You know, I told our kids that this is a blue blood program in our state who just unfortunately, to my knowledge, maybe they have won state championship, maybe in the 50s, 60s, or 70s, but, you know, they might be one of the only programs in the state of Louisiana. Now, the last couple of years may have kind of changed it, but they might be one of the only programs that have a winning record versus Acadiana. You know, in the last 25, 30 years. I mean, what some wars we had. I can remember my first year hearing about this kid who was the grandson of a legendary McNeese State coach who happened to be Trey Quinn. Okay, coached against my very first year. He was a freshman and coached against them.
Not only the Louisiana all-time receptions leader in high school football, he's the national receptions leader ever in high school football.
So Trey Quinn, that next year, that 2011 team they had, man, they beat us like a drum at Acadiana. Deshaun Smith and Courtney Galentine, and you know they had one of the most remarkable football players that I've ever seen in Kenton Fontenot. You know,
Good
in 2013, I mean, we played those guys twice. We played them in week 4. We blocked the field goal to win it, and then we went to Barb in the quarterfinals. And Derrick Cormier played, you know, a lot of defensive snaps and quarterback that night, and we ended up beating those guys there. And Coach Davison, Mr. Fontenot's dad, who was worked for law enforcement, happened to come up to our bus after the game and just wanted to congratulate us, you know, on the win and wish us the best moving forward. And we said, well, we'll be back in May to make sure that your son is walking across the stage because we never want to play against him again.
He went on to play baseball at Oklahoma State and then transferred to UL, I think,
and,
later in his career.
Kirkland Banks, I mean, unbelievable. It had a really good linebacker, I think, by the name of Corey Krause, and Coach Damari, who was the defense coordinator for a long time, and Coach Cotrera, who took over for Coach Shavers and became their head coach. So, and now Coach Skeet has been doing a great job. You know, I just got a lot of respect for the Coach Perry Lalonde, who's now in administration. I have the utmost respect for that program and the battles that we've been against them in my 16-year career. You know, and they've had an unfortunate string of adverse circumstances that they've went through. I think those guys went through 2 hurricanes, you know, 2 hurricanes that they went through. And unfortunately, they've had a charter school develop in their area like we've had a charter school develop right around the corner from us that has just kind of chopped up the population a little bit, you know, and they don't just quite have the same, you know, amount of kids and the same type of kids that they used to have, you know, in their heyday, but they're working tirelessly to reclaim that. And I thought they, you know, took a step in the right direction a year ago. And, you know, unfortunately we dropped the game to them, but hats off to them. Those guys earned that victory. They earned that victory, and, you know, they're off to a pretty good start again this year.
Yeah, they're 1-2 on the season, but they played a really good schedule, just like the Carencro Bears did. They went to Airline week 1, lost the game 56-27.
Tough place to go play. Tough place to go play.
And a team that puts up points in bunches the last few years. And you talked about the academy that just opened by them, Lake Charles College Prep. They lost a shootout, 70-65, Coach. Put up points in bunches. And then last week they beat a really good Northwest team, 40-19 on the road. That's a Northwest team that went deep into the playoffs the last couple years. So this version of the Barb Bucks looks to be pretty sound.
Yes, they're always very sound, always well coached. You know, you can tell the identity of their team as soon as the tape, you know, as soon as you turn on the tape. They're very good in special teams. They've got a kicker who's kicking it out of the end zone probably 90-95% of the time. You know, offensive line-wise, they're really good. They've always been very good schematically. They've always been one of the most polished offensive units that I've ever coached against. And, you know, they've got a lot of influence on some of the things that we're doing now. And defensively, they've always been very tough. You know, they play a 3-3 stack, you know, primarily versus 2-back sets that's always been very difficult to execute against. And, you know, it's always been very challenging, and we expect it to be no different this week. And, you know, we've prepared as best we could for it, but nobody executes it the way they do. I'm talking about in every aspect of the game, offensively, defensively, and special teams. So we got our work cut out for us, and they're starting their journey to compete for a district championship as well. So I expect it to be a war in the open-air Crow Dome for sure.
You talked about quickly flushing last week and getting the attention on the Barb Bucks. How was practice this week, just the energy level, and how well did you guys execute soundly?
You know, we've kind of gone back to 2 platoon practices now where, thankfully for our addition of coaches, we can do that now. I mean, Blane, I've been here 8 years. For 6 of the 8 years, we were operating with 7 and 8 coaches. People don't know that. People don't realize that. But we had 7, 8 coaches competing against the best programs in the state of Louisiana. You know, so we've always had to do team defense and then team offense. Well, now we can do team O and team D at the same time. You know, so I don't even know what's going on the defense side of the ball. You know, a lot of the time, man, it's crazy, right? Like, it's
Pettis
crazy.
Regulates you to the other side.
It's
Look,
crazy.
We got it over here.
Hey, I'm an offensive guy, man. And look, I enjoyed my time helping out on the defense side of the ball the last couple of years, and it's made me a better offensive coach. And I'm able to be a good GA to those guys, right, to where I'm able to assist them on Friday nights with personnel groupings. I'm able to give them insight on, maybe some of the things they were doing. Like I said, I always walk in on Sunday, and I'm talking with all of them throughout the week. I mean, Jordan Romero is one of my best friends. The guys in my wedding. I mean, we talk all the time, right? So I know what's going on defensively. But at the same time, I kind of don't know, So I think for the most part, practice was pretty good this week, as good as it could be. Obviously, the early parts of the week, we started off a little bit rough probably because of just mood and energy and taking 2 tough losses in a row. But I'm very proud of the way that we finished the week off, and I thought we had a really good practice today offensively. Now, it's overrated, man. It's overrated. I've coached in Friday night games to where we were absolutely awful on Thursdays and go out there and dominate on Fridays, and I've been at, part of practices where we were outstanding on Thursdays and awful on Fridays. I don't know if I said that right, but I've been part of both sides of it, so I don't know, man. It's yet to see, man. We got to go out there and play the game tomorrow.
How awesome is it, though, to play this many home games in a row, to not have to worry about traveling, to be in your home, stadium and not have to worry about, leaving school early or anything like that? Do kids care? Is that a big benefit for you guys, especially at this part in the season?
I'll be honest, I don't care. I mean, I spot the ball, right? Like I be so zoned in and so focused on other things that I really don't care or know if we're playing at home or playing away. It's not one of those things that kind of really cross, my mind often. I'm more so, what do we have to do in this moment? What do we have to do tomorrow and the next day to prepare ourselves to go out there and be a championship football program? Anything else is almost immaterial to me. So, the Cecilia last year, they road dogs. Like, I love that. It's on there. It's on their rings. It's on their championship paraphernalia. Road dogs. They played every game on the road to go out there and win a state championship. And I think in one of the past years when Coach Corville was here, we had a year where we were on the road a bunch and won a bunch of games. We were undefeated on the road, and I think we had 1 or 2 losses, and both of them happened to be at home. So it don't really cross my mind. No, it don't. It don't at all. We play where we play, spot the ball, and we're going to show up and go out there and compete.
Look, I'm going to let you get out of here so you can get that shrimp salad with your Avery Island dressing. I know you've been looking forward to that all week. But, hey, look, I'm telling you, the fans want to know. I've been asked about it. Who won goal line this week, offense or defense?
We were in the gym, bro. We were in the gym, bro.
Man.
And I'll be honest, I did everything.
Soft, man.
So